The Republican Party's efforts to reinvent itself, post-Bush and post-McCain, have been, I think, the greatest show in American politics over the past year. Now, one of the biggest unanswered questions about who the new Republican Party will be has been answered. This spring, conservative activists opposed to everything from the Federal Reserve to government help for people facing foreclosure to the citizenship proof of the president, started protests that they called Tea Parties at the time. Now, famously, the organizers of one Tea Party event in Chicago turned down a request from the Republican Party chairman, Michael Steele, when he asked if he could attend and address the crowd at a Tea Party. Since then, the Tea Partiers have split amongst themselves and split and split and split again, in some cases filing lawsuits against one another, denouncing each other's groups and events and tactics. Former House Majority Leader Dick Armey and his corporate-funded Freedom Works advocacy organization have exploited the Tea Party brand as well as anyone, even going so far as to sell speaking slots at a supposedly grassroots Tea Party event for the low, low price of $10,000. Monday, though, the mainstreaming of the Tea Party phenomenon was advanced. That principled divide between the Tea Partiers and the Republican Party that they claimed had deserted its principles, apparently that's really 2009. Because yesterday, Republican Party Chairman Michael Steele held a joint phone press conference with Dick Armey.
I'm just very honored to be able to work with citizens all across this country, grassroots activists, Tea Partiers, and others who are fighting the good fight. One of the leaders in this fight, and I'm very honored to have him on this call with us, is Dick Armey, a man of principle.
Given my point of view, my love of individual liberty, there's no place I can turn in politics except to the Republican parties who in the past have demonstrated during the Reagan years that they are quite capable of serving the cause of liberty and serving it well.
So much for the Tea Party contingent running insufficiently right-wing Republicans out of the party, right? Well, now, at least according to Dick Armey and Michael Steele, the Republican Party are the Tea Partiers, and the Tea Partiers are the Republican Party. They are GOP baggers. They are the Tea-Publicans. They are one. At least they were on Monday. Turns out that happy political marriage lasted one day. It already appears to be over. Today, a very, very, very conservative Democratic congressman from northern Alabama, Parker Griffith, a man with no known first name, switched from being a very conservative Democrat to being a very conservative Republican. Parker Griffith, Democrat, in his first year in office, voted against the president's budget. He voted against the stimulus. He voted against the cap-and-trade global warming bill. He voted against health reform. He voted against even Wall Street reform, the new financial regulations. He even voted against the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which is the bill that said women should get paid the same as men. He voted no on that. And remember, he's a Democrat. But that's not all. In August, at a town hall meeting, Parker Griffith was quoted by the Huntsville Times as telling his constituents that even though he was a Democrat, he wouldn't vote for Nancy Pelosi to be Speaker of the House. Democrats sort of vote unanimously for Nancy Pelosi to be Speaker of the House. But Griffith said he would not. And then he said, quote, "If she doesn't like it, I've got a gift certificate to the mental health center." Classy, right? So as of today, Parker Griffith is not a Democrat who won't vote for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker or for any of the major Democratic agenda items. He is a Republican who won't do those things. The Republican establishment reacted with glee, the National Republican Congressional Committee moving immediately to take down an attack ad that they had run against Mr. Griffith, accusing him of being a terrorist lover. The RNC putting out a statement welcoming him to the party that called him a terrorist lover. And GOP El Jefe in exile, Sarah Palin, welcoming Mr. Griffith with a tweet which used her trademark ransom note spacing and punctuation. Here's the really interesting part of this, though. Even as the Republican establishment welcomes Parker Griffith, hardcore conservatives at Red State and Club for Growth say they will teabag him. They will Didi Skozafava him. They say he is not right-wing enough for them. At Red State today, quote, "We should now hope him to be an extremely endangered Republican in a primary. We can pick this guy off and get a real Republican in that seat." the main Republican candidate who had been planning to run against Griffith when Griffith was a Democrat, took one look at that fight between the Republican Party embracing Mr. Griffith and the teabaggers attacking him, and they decided to side with the teabaggers, saying that he will stay in the race to beat Mr. Griffith, even if Griffith is a Republican now. And so another split between the GOP and the conservative activists. The marriage of the Republican Party and the Tea Party conservatives who give them meaning comes to an end just one day after it was consummated on a joint Michael Steele-Dick Armey conference call. Joining us now is Anna Marie Cox, national correspondent and host of Inside Story on Air America Radio. Anna Marie, thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Hey, Rachel.
How's Tampa?
Tampa is dark, as far as I can tell. I really haven't seen much of Florida. I just barely escaped D.C. after the Snow My God weekend, and have really actually been traveling so much that I barely know where I am. But thank you for reminding me, Tampa.
Sure,
yes.
That's very good. I can tell from the background there. I'm sorry, it's not why you're here, but we're very glad you're on the show. Does this look to you like the early days of that Scozzafava race up in upstate New York, where the Republican establishment is welcoming the Republican, in this case the guy who just switched parties, but the conservative movement isn't having it?
It is, and it's right down to the fact that the guy is actually not even a very good Republican, even though he's more of a Republican than he's a Democrat. He still voted with Democrats about 85% of the time, according to the Washington Post. So he's actually not a very conservative Republican, and he's facing this really, really tough primary with people who are already excited to run against him, who are now even more excited to run against him, and they've suddenly got the national attention like they got in upstate New York when Doug Hoffman entered the race as the Tea Party candidate against Debbie Scozzafava.
But there is a sort of nuance here, I think, about this race. In his district, McCain beat Obama by 23 points. So you think, all right, obviously a very conservative district. But it's a district that did elect a Democratic member of Congress. And I just wonder if that's going to be the big tension of 2010. Republicans having a chance to pick up Democratic seats from purple districts, but scaring off voters by demanding that their candidates be really, really, really red.
I think that's definitely in danger of happening. And I think that you're never going to get like a liberal Democrat in that district. But right now, they probably have the best chance to get a more liberal Democrat in that district than they've ever had. Because it seems like what's going to happen in that primary is, I have to say, things do not look good for him. They looked bad for him when he was a Democrat. Now he suddenly got this negative attention from both Republicans and Democrats. And he has some people that are really fired up and have the base, and also have will be getting some of that national support like Doug Hoffman got. But that doesn't mean they're going to win the race. That means they might win the primary. But actually, all of that national attention and all that pushing to the right tends to scare off, like you said, the people that actually turn up and vote in these local elections. So you have someone like the Democrat winning in upstate New York for the first time in however many years it was, which was a long time.
And of course,
it's so long ago.
Well, this one complicated though by the fact that it's also it's going to be a runoff between whoever. I mean, you have to get 50% of the vote, or there's a runoff election here. So we might end up, even in the general election, choosing between two Republicans, even though one of them used to be a Democrat. But on the national issue, Anna Marie, how much of the ideological credibility and appeal of the conservative movement right now is predicated on them not being in bed with the Republican Party? I mean, did Dick Armey hurt himself with conservatives by doing that joint appearance with Michael Steele?
I don't think he hurt himself, in part because that his group is so out in front on this Tea Party stuff, and they're so strident about it. And I was really struck by that phone call and listening to it with you a little while ago, how Michael Steele was welcoming Dick Armey and said he felt honored to have Dick Armey on the call. Usually that is not the dynamic you see with a national party and with what is actually kind of a fringy group. Let's face it. Let's remember, the reason why you and I can get excited about the Tea Party people, I won't use the word GOP baggers, I guess.
Yes.
But we get excited about that, is that we know that normal, sane, rational voters are frightened by them. Yeah. And they are. I mean, when I look and I see Sarah Palin and Dick Cheney and Dick Armey being called like the leaders of this new conservative movement, I'm kind of like, that's great. You know, you go, please try and run that way. Please try and do it. Because right now, I mean, party ID is not even the point anymore. Everyone's very suspicious, both on the left and the right, of Washington, right? We're actually going to be having some races where people may be actually judged on their ideological values and not on their party tags that they bring to the table.
Anna Marie Cox, Air America correspondent, thank you very much for being here. And please enjoy Tampa while you're there.
Thank you. It's warm.
Yeah, good. Excellent.